Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope you're having a great week. I once read of a story told by Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher, about a handful of thieves who broke into a jewelry store. The thieves, instead of taking the belongings on display, rearranged the price tags. The next morning, when the jewelry store opened, the expensive jewelry was sold as junk, and the junk jewelry was sold as expensive. Such creative minds. Of course, it didn't take long before the jeweler found out. But who would ever think of that? Rearranging price tags. This illustration has been used by many to consider how the world works. We live in a world where it's as though someone rearranged price tags. Things of inestimable value and worth, like virtue, faith, and living one's life for a higher purpose that benefits others, is given a lower price tag. Things like outer beauty, money, success, and image have received the higher one. You might think about what you value most today, and if you've been proactive about selecting what's of higher value in God's economy rather than this world's. Ephesians 4 verse 1 says to lead a life worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness and patience, bearing with one another in love. This passage places a high price tag on faith and virtue and God's claim upon our lives and his esteem of us. And it reminds us that we're meant to live in light of what God has deemed most precious, which apparently is you and me and the world he created. God created us, God loves us, and he cares deeply about our love and care toward one another. To be worthy of something is translated from the original Greek as equalizing or balancing the scales. A Christian's life ought to be equalized in light of the esteem God has of him or her, living in harmony between who he or she is and how he or she lives. Our passage lists 4 virtues that demonstrate this consistency in a person's life: humility, gentleness, patience, and love. You might remember the characters Wayne and Garth, played by Mike Myers and Dana Carvey in the film Wayne's World. These men were presented as lovable lowlifes who also idolized metal and rock icons like Alice Cooper and Aerosmith. When they meet their heavy metal icons, they bow down and plead, "We're not worthy, we're not worthy." It was all at the same time endearing, but also very pathetic. When it comes to God, there's this great sense in which we're not worthy. We're beggars in need of grace. In the presence of an all-knowing, all-powerful, everywhere God, we're minuscule in size and even significance. And yet that's the miracle of faith, isn't it? You may not always feel important or significant in the eyes of God or in the eyes of the world. But remember the value conferred upon you through the cross of Jesus, the price tag he's placed on your life through his accomplished work, and act worthy of it. Live up to it. Receive, cherish it, embody it. Lead a life worthy of the calling to which you have been called, to be God's child and to glorify and enjoy him forever. The price tag's been placed. You've been claimed, called, spoken for. This week, know that you are of inestimable worth to God. Express this worth by living in humility, acting in gentleness, patience, and love. And don't be fooled by those other price tags. Have a great week.